For me personally, it was a way of letting everybody judge for themselves how they felt about it before another rather dull. It felt in parallel with when we first sort of got back together, basically after having a break, and I was talking about how I no longer felt I wanted to be answerable to the Radiohead thing at all. And it's not that I wanted to split with the band. I wanted to carry on working with the band, but I didn't want everything to be looked at in this way, the way that things are. Well, it's not. It's completely precious, you know. And it's denying that say your work is good. You know, it's something I am actually proud of it. It's not. That's kind of not what I mean. It's just the sort of nonsense element of it. The sort of I guess just the machinery. You know, the making old school promotional machinery, which in the context of the music we like and what we're into and sort of the rest, it's just increasingly doesn't make any sense. It feels wrong. I'm sure it feels wrong to lots of people, and suddenly you're given the opportunity to just sidestep it as best you can. And God, I mean, who wouldn't take it? Personally speaking, I think the reason that people choose to shuffle their iTunes is because it's like a substitution for radio. They're downloading loads of stuff and hoping that this mythical DJ that doesn't exist is going to provide for them, which 90% of the time he isn't doing. But you know, occasionally you'll get like a couple of tunes that go together and you're like, woohoo. But most of the time it's just, you know, my missus absolutely can't stand the whole when I shuffle music in the house. She drives her absolutely crazy. But she's right. She's absolutely right.
Just being in a room with loud music generates all this white noise, and it's quite intense, which you lose as soon as you try and record a song like that. It's the old cliche of a band that sounds great in a room, why don't you just go and record it like that? But you can't, because you lose this thing that happens to your ears. So what I always carried through with me while we're working on that song is how amazing it was at the end of that song when all this chaos kicks up and you can just hear Thom singing through it. And it was just very clinical without that. And so, that's how we did it. We generated that by having the strings play every single note in the scale and chord tones between. So you just get this full sort of noise.
Confrontation's never been our strong point. We've kind of shied away from it, which, you know, some quite strident personalities is quite an odd situation to be in. I think for a while, we all went off into our own little corners and nobody was really talking about the music, and that's why you know, until you actually get to that point where you sit everybody down and just say what it is you feel is good about the song, where you feel it should go, then you can actually start making decisions about it. But we were off in our own little corners for quite some time. I think Nigel was very good at pulling us all in together and drawing us all out.
I realised that ever since we were kids, we would record ourselves and then listen to ourselves obsessively. I mean, over and over and over and over again, like recordings of, you know, 4-track recordings, stuff done in bedrooms. And it's still a bit like that, I suppose. I think when you work on something over and over again, you sort of, it's got to be good enough to be worth working on. And if it survives that process, it's usually good enough to release. And it's not usually about working on fractions of a second. It's just about listening to all the song over and over again and making sure that it's, you know, it's doing the right thing.